Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 143. When we last left our heroes, Eraser was starting to, sort of struggle with how many Imperial ships he was erasing. And then he was alerted to the main Coon, rushing into the battle. Oasis kind of wondered if they should, reach out to the Union, announce they were there to help. They didn't quite come to a consensus there. Meanwhile, Shiki and Shura were really going at it on Euro 66. Shura explained that his specialty relies more on moving gravity of objects, though, as he says, that doesn't really amount to much. He can still change the gravity of individuals just as well. Meanwhile, the ex-Draken gang went to fight some more Imperial ships that were on the surface. Weisz, Rebecca, Homura, Happy, and Kino went underground to go up into the city to destroy All Link. Back at the battle, Shiki used Xenolith's gravity center attack, which caused Shura to become incredibly impressed with him and ask to be his friend. So we'll see how that comes about right now. With chapter 143, you didn't do anything to deserve this. And our picture here is Hermit in what looks like some kind of schoolgirl outfit with a very large, ice cream cone with a bunch of plues on them. It's pretty cute. Anyway, we open where we left off, with Shura asking Shiki to be friends. And Shiki looks at him, "Your friend?" Even Shiki is confused at the notion that Shura wants to be his friend. "Yeah, I've never met anybody like you. We could totally be buds." And Shiki just stares at him. And Shiki turns him down. "But you don't think robot lives are worth anything. I can't be friends with a guy like that." And Shura presses him, "What? You can't be friends with someone who has different values than you?" Okay, maybe it's just my particular part in the American political climate. But that seems like this is almost certainly not Mashima's intention. But it's really easy to read that as you see, in case you aren't aware, I'm very, very far left politically. And so if that's not where you are, this next little tangent might push you out a little bit. But you see sometimes, you'll see centrist and some right-wing people say "Oh, you can't be friends with someone because they're have different politics. That's, a negative thing about you." But the point is, as Shiki kind of brings up here, the kind of lives, to disvalue a certain kind of life kind of does, get rid of the chance of being friends, as Shiki kind of points out. But either way, back on topic. Shura presses, "What? You can't be friends with someone who has different values than you?" Shiki looks at him. "We have the same goal, don't we?" And he extends his hand, and Shiki looks at it. "Let's beat Ziggy together." Shiki's not going to take that. But Shiki actually, in his own kind of way, this line actually does feel just right for Shiki. "If I agree to be your friend, will you stop your plans to destroy the machines?" That's kind of everything Shiki could want. More friends, and no more dead machines, is kind of Shiki's exact goal. And Shura kind of shrugs, "Well, if a friend's asking, I might be willing to consider it." And Shiki looks down at him. "Come on." And he extends his hand. Again, Shiki jumps down. Promise me you won't destroy the androids." And Shura looks at him, and then presses, "But think about it. They're trying to take the rights away from us humans. If we let them get away with it, those robots will take over the cosmos." Again, this is the obvious counter, but there's a huge gulf between "don't let androids take away human rights" and "kill all androids." Those aren't really the same points. "If you were my friend, you'd understand. We don't need live robots." So here we see that Shura was at no point, even though Shura said last page, "If a friend's asking, I might be willing to consider it." On page 6, he's very clear, that's a lie. He is never going to consider it. if you were my friend, you'd side with me. And so Shiki, of course, slaps the hand away. We do need them. I can be friends with someone who thinks differently from me, but that's one idea I could never get behind. Shiki hits the nail right on the head right there. I could never be your friend. And Shura sighs, and then just smiles. I see. And he, raises his hand and brings his finger down on Shiki. And we see what look like the silhouettes of a bunch of, presumably already dead robot warriors. I guess he's somehow controlling these by, very particularly manipulating their gravity? Which, if so, is an incredibly advanced skill, I'd imagine. And Shiki looks around. They've been in a crater this whole time, and one edge of the crater is just surrounded by bots. And it's also behind them too. Maybe because looking back on page 8, the bots seem to be behind Shiki more than anything else. And same with page 9, so it might just still be the one half of the crater. But either way, Shiki presses Shura. I thought this fight was just you and me. And Shura counters, whoever said that? I'm bored with you now. I'll let them take it from here. And Shura kind of just levitates away. And the bots get ready to fight. And Shiki presses, hey, you do have robot friends. But Shura counters, friends? Hunks of metal that are about to be scrapped? I wouldn't call them friends. So it looks like that's not gravity powers. They're just sort of almost dead models. That maybe are not advanced enough to have free will. But anyway, Shura, with his new robot army, just says, get him. And the robots all run down the crater and surround Shiki. Damn it! And Shura just claps as he watches. Go on, you miserable robots. This will be your last job. Don't disappoint your master, Shura. And the bots all kind of continue to run towards Shiki. And Shura just grins. You almost have to admire it. They'll be destroyed by this time tomorrow, but they still give it their all. Don't you worry, little bots. Shiki here is a nice boy. He says machines are his friends. So the question I kind of have to ask here is, what are the kind of ranges of sentience with bots in the Eden Zero universe? Because there are the bots we know. The Starshines, Pino, Happy, even Mimi back on Foresta, the bots of Granbell, Ziggy, his Darkshines, I think they were called, that are all clearly basically fully sentient. And then you have these bots that are very much not fully sentient, from what it seems. They seem to be just kind of drones. And is there a level of technology that, the bots that we know have been installed with a sort of sentience, and these bots are just kind of more analogous to modern day drones than anything else? I don't really know. We haven't really gone in detail on that. Anyway, Yohama said, oh, right, I did that line already. He says machines are his friends. And the bots kind of throw Shiki around. He kind of catches himself, and Shura waves goodbye. Later, and he zooms away, Shiki calls, come back here! And then he just keeps getting whacked by the bots. And Shiki flashes back to what Shura says. They'll be destroyed by this time tomorrow. And Shiki responds, I'm so sorry. You didn't do anything to deserve this! And he just slams one, going on the attack. He has no choice, but he's gotta do what he's gotta do. And then we come back to the Eden Zero, and the X-Draken gang fighting over the city. Clean says, brother, enemies at 9 o'clock. And Chris tells her, yeah, I know. Maguna kind of growls, grr, they're bringing in reinforcements. And Hermit tells them, hang in there just a little longer, just until Weisz's team reaches their destination. And Sister snaps at Witch, damn, how annoying. Let's just bust the whole dome with the main cannon. Witch tells her, I doubt our great Demon King would want that. There are civilians inside that dome. Sorry, I think y'all might be able to hear my dog. She's like that, as y'all may know at this point. Anyway, just then, someone laser hits the Eden Zero. And Witch reads out, the Eden Zero has been hit? No, it wasn't enemy fire, it was... Sister react... Oh, I think this is Shura. Who's left Shiki to die with the bots, and has gone to attack the Eden Zero himself. Somebody tore through our armor! But Hermit reacts, that piddly little laser beam shouldn't be enough to penetrate guarnanium alloy armor. It's gravity, is which gravity is the power of destruction. And we see, it looks like Shura, maybe even in that panel, has blasted through the ceiling of the room the Starshines are in, and is in the room with them. Yeah, that's what happened. He is in the room with the Starshines. Okay. Okay. I mean, Shiki might still be able to get there in time. He's not exactly fighting powerful enemies. And as he's already kind of resolved to deal with the bots as he must, he might still get there pretty soon. But for now, they're alone with Shura. Everyone else is out. Shura? But... And Witch looks around, where is the Demon King? And Shura reacts, Demon King? Don't tell me you mean Shiki. Take a look at where you dropped him off. And Witch, goes back to the keyboard and pulls up a view screen of Shiki fighting the bots. And she sighs. See that? He's massacring a bunch of bots. Your machines too, right? How's it feel to see your dear Shiki picking on fellow androids? And Hermit kind of counters. Their identity doesn't matter. Human or machine, a friend is a friend and a foe is a foe. So Hermit is much more kind of battle-hardened than Shiki. Like, if Hermit were down there, she'd just do it. No second thoughts. Whereas Shiki has to, kind of cry about it a little bit. But then, Witch gets ready for battle. All hands, battle dress for Quip. And all three of them change into their battle outfits. Or they try to, as Shura says, oh no you don't. And just with the sheer power of gravity sends them all flying. Hermit and Sister to the side, Witch appears to fly upwards, I think. I think we see the boom, and I think those are her legs behind the boom. Or it might just be energy kind of emanating upwards from the hole that Shura left. But either way, we don't see Witch in that picture. Anyway, Hermit, and Sister, Gwah! Witch is in the room, my bad. And she also hits the wall. Such intense gravity. And Sister reacts, I can't move. And Shura, who's apparently still thinking about Shiki, that little twerp, said he can't be my friend. So I got curious. I came to get a look at his precious toys. I'd love to see the look on his face when I break them. Yeah, Shura is still, above all else, just an ass. Which, we know, but still. And then we cut back to Team Weisz. As Pino is reading out the directions. It's straight down this hall. And Weisz asks, and you're sure it will take us to this all-link system? Miss Hermit made this map, so it should be very reliable. But Rebecca points out something that I hadn't really noticed in those intro panels is just the sheer number of mirrors everywhere. Still, why are there so many mirrors? Even on the floor. And Happy comments, good thing you didn't come in a miniskirt. That's fair, Happy. Moscow looks at his reflection, most friends, and Weisz looks around, this place gives me the willies. And Homura stops at one of the mirrors. Hold, I sense ether from this mirror. And that gets Rebecca's attention, and Pino thinks an ether reaction, are they going to fight their reflections? Is that what's about to happen? Homura kind of freezes, and Pino calls, Miss Homura, please get away from there. And yeah, we see Homura has this kind of swirly-eyed hypnosis effect, frowning. Her reflection is sort of dead-eyed and giving this evil grin. Weisz calls, Homura! And Homura slashes at Weisz. He jumps back. Whoa, what are you doing? Homura, the mirror reflects your other self. Go on. Set your dark side free. Oh, that's one of the oceans, I think. She almost looks like Homura, so it took me a second. But the braid is different and the bangs are different. That's one of the Ocean 6. I'm going to see if I can do a quick Google search for their names. But that's definitely one of them. Is that... I'm going to guess Milani? Yeah, it's Milani. Okay. So yeah, now it's time for them to fight their first Ocean 6 member, or Ocean's 5 at this point, given that Saika is kind of dead. Time for them to fight Milani. which I'm guessing is going to be the focus of next chapter, given that it's the cliffhanger, even though we still have Shiki and his fight with the bots, Starshines versus Shura. I think first thing is going to be Team Weisz versus Milani. But before that, let's talk about this chapter, which is a lot of fun. I love that confrontation between Shiki and Shura. It's a nice sort of, shading of Shora's normal reaction. He wants to be friends with Shura, and he really does. He even says, on page, where's the line? Page 5. If I agree to be your friend, will you stop your plan to destroy the machines? He wants to be friends with Shura. He wants to be friends with everyone, and everyone includes Shura. But here we see, clear lines in the sand. Same thing we saw with Draken, if you redeem yourself, even I'll be your friend, back in World 29. He's once again saying, I want to be friends with you, because I want to be friends with everyone. But I cannot do that if you devalue the lives of bots. If you just kill all the bots, that's the line I will not cross. Which pisses Shura off, and tries to set up this sort of, horrible choice for Shiki between either not killing bots or dying, or not killing bots and dying, or killing bots in order to live. And Shiki, to his own sadness, chooses to live, chooses to stop Shura, to stop the All-Link. He makes the right choice. He makes what is objectively the right choice. But it's still hard for him. And I appreciate that difficulty. I really do. And then we get the Starshines and Shura. As Shura just really wants to break everything Shiki holds dear. But we also see still, he's not acknowledging the way that Shiki views bots. He specifically, if you were sort of... I think there'd be a difference if he even mockingly refers to the Starshines as Shiki's precious friends on page 18. But he's at least acknowledging that Shiki has a worldview. But he doesn't. He calls them toys. Because to Shura, he's kind of imposing his worldview on Shiki in a way by doing that. He's calling them toys because he maybe still can't imagine that Shiki could see them as people. Anyway, I want to see the Starshines. The Starshines aren't going to win against Shura. That's obviously going to be Shiki, the way they're sort of... The two gravity users are obviously being paired as eventual enemies. Shura's final defeat will obviously come at Shiki's hand. But I do want to see the Starshines at least give it their best shot until Shiki gets there. But again, I think next time is going to be focused on Milani and her mirror-themed ether gear. That has brought out some kind of dark side in Homura. The implication is that this is a darkness in Homura. Your other self, set your dark side free. We'll see if that's true, or just Milani. If you look in one of Milani's mirrors, you turn kind of evil or against your friends. And she says that's your other self to kind of throw you off your game. That all remains to be seen. But for now, this is a really fun chapter. And I can't wait to see where we go from here. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!